Real Life, Real Crime is a true crime podcast brought to you by Woody Overton and executive producer Toby Tomplay in conjunction with iHeartRadio and Cloud 10 Media.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to an attorney prior to and during any questioning. You can't afford one, the court will appoint one for you. You understand your rights?
Your crime spree was over, son. Yeah, you thought you had it licked, but Detective Overton made you shoulda turned to shit. Get ready, you're gonna do time. Real life, real crime.
Warning. This episode of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast, may contain descriptions of acts of violence or that are of a sexual nature and should be for people that are 18 years or older. Heed my warning, people. I did not get the facts of these cases off of the internet or from some television show. The facts I'm retelling you were presented to me by the victims of the crimes or the perpetrators who committed the crimes against the victims. My description of the crime scenes are what I saw with my own two eyes. If you're gonna get offended, please turn this podcast off now. Thank you. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast. And as always, I'm your host, Woody Overton. I want to thank you all for joining us today and tell you a little bit of a bizarre story. And please be 18 or older, okay? And heed my warning, people. Seems like every episode someone doesn't heed the warning and they want to send me a nasty comment because I said something sexual or about violence or whatever. Well, guess what? This is Real Life, Real Crime, and I'm Woody Overton, and I'm going to tell you how a cow ate the cabbage, regardless. If you don't like it, please turn it off. All right, so name of this one, I'll call it Eastover. And I hope y'all had a great Thanksgiving. You'll be getting this the Tuesday after Thanksgiving, and I hope you had all the fixings and the good stuff and family and whatever it is you like to do, and that you're blessed, right? And so we're certainly blessed to have you. Stay tuned at the end of Eastover for podcast announcements. So I guess the year was probably 2004, somewhere around there. And I'm not going to use the name on this for y'all because, although parts of this are going to be funny, certainly I don't think that any type of mental disease is funny. But it was around 2004, and I was working as a detective with the Livingston Parish Sheriff's Office. And I also was on the special response team this before I gave it up because I was working so many hours a day. And back then, y'all, the special response team, if you've been a listener in the past, you know, we were called the Men in Black. It was all volunteer. Sheriff Willie Grays was the fourth anchor, and Jason Ard, who's now the sheriff, was the head of basically it's SWAT team, but the politically correct way or sensitive, whatever. They call it Special Response Team now because SWAT stood for Special Weapons and Tactics. But when I first went into detectives, I was still on the SRT team, and it was, you never knew when you got called out, okay? And you got called out for only the bad stuff. But it seemed to me it always happened when I was off duty, working day shift in detectives, and I would go home and, you know, a shooting would happen or whatever the situation may be. We had a high-risk search warrant or whatever, or meth lab, whatever it may be. We would get the call out. We would get the page. Then you had to go. Generally, you would go to one certain location and meet up and get the information on what was going on, and they would get a game plan together. And then if it was say a house we were going to hit, they would go do surveillance on it, and so you'd have real-time action, and you would know where the doors were and the windows were, and I mean, you just tried to get as much information as you could on the situation before you sent out the special response team. Well, sometimes you couldn't get any information, and on these cases, you're responding to an emergency in progress. And so on this night, it was a hot summer night, I can tell you that. This night, my pager goes off around 9:30 p.m., and, I work from 8 to 4. So I would have been at home chilling, watching TV, pager goes off, and it's SRT call out, but it's respond to Eastover subdivision, and it gave a certain address, right? Of course, we would have called in on the way. So what I do, jump out of my chair, and now I carried all my equipment, my weapons, my extra weapons, I carried a change of the black clothing, whatever you want to call it, the BDUs and the jacket that goes over it. You had a different firearm, you had a different pistol for the SRT team. You had an AR-15 and I had a shotgun. I like to carry the shotgun most of the time, especially on entries and stuff. But you had Kevlar helmets, you have the extra plates, and this extra big bulletproof vest. And these plates that you put in were like, 20 pounds each, and they were high ballistic plates to try to stop rifle bullets. More so, these vests were way heavier than the ones that the cops wear every day, right? And you just had all this stuff, knee pads and elbow pads, and like I said, the helmet, the Kevlar helmet, and goggles. It's just a ton of stuff, okay? And I always kept it in the trunk of my unit. At that time, I had a blue unmarked Crown Victoria, y'all, and they don't even use those in police work anymore. So I guess I'm telling how old I am. So I kept that bag prepared and ready to go, locked up in the trunk of my car. And yes, I kept my weapons and stuff locked up in the trunk of my car, and I shouldn't have. And over the years, I think I've told you all this before, certain vehicles would get broken into by chance, and they would actually get SRT members' gear and stuff out of the vehicles, but story for another day. But at home that night, I jumped up, I ran in my closet, and I had extra SRT uniforms hanging. So I went ahead and threw one on one. I knew it was going to be hot, so I didn't have to wear any long johns or anything like that. And, I throw my stuff on, and I'm getting on the phone. I'm calling the team leader. I'm like, what's going on in Eastover? Now, let me tell you about Eastover. Eastover, and I'm not being racist, y'all. If I say ghetto or white ghetto or hood or whatever, I'm just telling you the damn neighborhood. But the Eastover was just south of Denham Springs. I think it's probably still there, but I haven't been in there in years and years and years. But just south of Denham Springs, and it was a total shithole. It was the worst trailer park on the west side of the parish, by far, hands down. And it was massive, okay? Now, listen, I'm not putting down on it. Everybody's got to live somewhere, right? Or otherwise you're going to be homeless. There are a lot of great people in there. I spent a lot of time in there working a lot of cases. I spent a lot of time in there in criminal patrol. I spent a lot of time in there helping people, okay? And a lot of them really good people. But unfortunately, that it was full of drugs. It was full of domestic violence calls. It was full of murders, rapes, and just all the bad shit. And it was a frequent flyer. If you were working on the west side of the parish, you were going in that bitch at least once, sometimes 20 times a day on different calls, okay? Whether it's burglaries or whatever. It was a bad place. And if you were going out on criminal patrol or you work in narcotics, you were going to focus on that area because it all came through there on the south side of Denham. We had a couple ones like Magnolia Estates, just north of Denham, but they weren't near the size and scope of Eastover, but they were problem childs. But you could go back and forth between the two and guarantee you were going to make arrests. So I throw all my stuff, I call in, and the team leader says, "Hey man, we got a hostage situation." And I said, "What's up?" And they said they got a white female, and she's locked inside her trailer, and she's got a pistol. She had been outside. She chased somebody down the street with the pistol, and they called 911. The blue and white, or the responding uniform patrol officer, went to show up, and he came in as 911 103G, which is a disturbance with a gun. But as soon as they said where it was, I already knew this person, okay? And we had a long-standing history with her. But back to it, they said that she chased the person down the street, like literally had a pistol pointing at him, was going to kill him, etc. And then she turned around and she ran back inside her house. Well, guess what? Cops got to show up, right? Get 911 call. Somebody's got to show up and see what's going on. And man, hey, a lot of them, you get calls like that and they're bullshit. And there's nothing going on. Maybe this person wouldn't leave the house or whatever. Well, guess what? This lady, y'all, I knew it was legit. And so they said the uniform officer showed up and went to the door, and before he could get to the door, now you never approach a door head on, because we call that the kill zone, because you can be shot through the door. So you always, especially on a trailer, you want to come to the side where duck below the windows or whatever, and maybe reach around with your hand and knock on the door. They had the little wooden steps, y'all, that went up to the door, and knock on the door, but you don't want to stand there where they can crack the door open and shoot you either, right? I'd like to come around the backside and knock and say, "Hey, sheriff's office, shit." And the unit that responded said he didn't even get to the door, and she kicked the door open and pointed the firearm at him and said, "I'm gonna blow your fucking brains out. Get out of my fucking yard." And then he's standing in a wide ass open, but she grabbed the door and hurried up and slammed it before he could even draw his weapon. He could have killed her if he'd have been fast enough on the draw. But at that point, all he can do is what he should have done, which is get the fuck out of the way, back up, get behind his unit, take cover. And he called in, "Hey, I just, 108, officer needs assistance. Just had a firearm pointed at me, such address, send backup," right? Well, they're going to send God and everybody. She just literally could have killed a deputy. They weren't 20 yards apart, maybe 20 feet apart. It was right close, but she got the door closed. I'm thankful that she slammed the door in a hurry, because I know this guy, and he's a veteran. He would have killed her, or he'd have shot her, and it'd have been rightfully so in doing so. But thank God it didn't go that way. Now I'm on the phone, y'all, and I'm climbing in my unit. I'm talking to the team leader, and when I get in the unit, I hear somebody say that they were 10-8, and meaning they were back in service, and I hear the dispatcher say the net is 1033 for 360, whatever, 361, whoever it was, the unit number, I can't remember. Hold for emergency traffic, y'all. 1033, the net means you hold it. Nobody can talk except for this guy that's on scene. Why you do that? In case she comes back out and she starts shooting, right? You don't want somebody calling in a traffic stop if somebody is shooting at you. If there's an emergency situation, you 1033 the net, and that means don't get on that son of a bitch unless you have something important to say. But we had other channels you could swap over to. But I didn't swap to another channel because I didn't give a shit about anything else that was going on. The team leader knew I was coming, and I was probably 20 minutes away, 25 minutes away. But then when he told me who it was, I was like, fuck. I said, he is so lucky. And he said, you're right. He said, that bitch is crazy. And y'all, when we say bitch and all that stuff, it's not being derogatory. I'm just telling you how the cops talk. So I'm hauling ass to Eastover. Now, you turn into Eastover, they have what they call the boulevard. All right. When you turn in, that's the main drag. And when you turn in, I would have had to take a left in. You turn in, you're on the boulevard. There was a little area on the right where there was no trailers. There was like some old dilapidated cars, but on the left, the trailer started immediately on the left-hand side. And you go probably maybe a quarter of a mile, and I'm going from memory, quarter of a mile, and there's the first street on the left, maybe Aztec. Hey y'all, let me tell you about Gobble. All Gobble meal kits are pre-prepped. That means less work for you and less waste in your kitchen. Their meal kits include everything you need so you can save time at the store or just skip that trip entirely. I got the box in and I had 3 different meals. I had a Kung Pao chicken, crispy fish tacos, and a beef bourguignon, however you say it. But let me tell you about the classic beef bourguignon. Look, it came with beef pot roast and a beef broth concentrate, red wine demi-glace, cremini mushrooms, cipollone onions, mashed potatoes, baby carrots, and rosemary thyme butter. It was so easy to make. Literally like 15 minutes it took Cindy. And let me tell you something, all the dishes were fire, but this thing was like a taste explosion in my mouth. It's just unreal. We've got to spend more time together and more time doing the things we love because everything came in this one single box right to my door. So see what a difference Gobble will make for your household. Right now, they're offering my listeners a fantastic limited time deal. You get $120 off across 4 boxes plus free shipping and free cookies. And let me tell you, those cookies, I ate one that was sin-baked and it was delicious. Go to gobble.com/reallife. That's GOBBLE.com/real-life for $120 off your first 4 boxes. This offer is not available on the home site, so don't miss out. This is genius. It's taste explosions in your mouth like you never had. Hey ladies, are you feeling overwhelmed by hormonal changes? Well, you're definitely not alone. There are more than 1,000 hormone disruptors living in our environment right now. It's in your food, your water, the air you breathe, the clothes you wear, your skincare products. They all mess with your hormones. Then there's the natural hormone changes your body goes through, premenopause, menopause. And while it's a natural process, it doesn't mean you have to suffer through it. The good news is you don't have to suffer through it anymore because now you have Hormone Harmony, a formula made only with herbal ingredients that are shown to reduce hormonal symptoms in women of all ages. Hormone Harmony is not just a hormone support and supplement. It's become a phenomenon. Women can't stop talking about it on social media. A bottle of Hormone Harmony is sold every 24 seconds. And the biggest benefit? Well, my wife says it makes her feel like her own self again. And that's what women mention over and over in the reviews. And there are over 30,000 reviews for Hormone Harmony. And for a limited time, you can get 15% off your entire first order at happymammoth.com. Just use code RLRC at checkout. That's happymammoth.com and use code RLRC for 15% off today. That's happymammoth.com and use code RLRC. Or something like that. Most of the streets had like Indian names or Cherokee, Aztec, stuff like that in that hood. You had that first street on the left. And then if you took that first street on the left, you go in, and there's multiple streets going different directions. But if you took the first street on the left, you go in, there's a clubhouse which was now being used as a church or something in the middle of the trailer park. But I didn't have to go there because this lady lived in like the fourth trailer on the right. I remember I told you the right-hand side only had one trailer, and then there was woods directly behind it. So when you start and you hit Aztec, and there's like 1, 2, 3, maybe the fifth or sixth trailer, but she was just past Aztec on the right. And now if you kept going down the boulevard, eventually you would go to the back, and it circles around all the way in the back, and it comes back around to the other streets, okay? So I turn in, I already know where I'm going, and it's not far. And I'm thinking it's like the sixth trailer on the right. Now, these trailers on the right-hand side, y'all, they were not, if you're driving down the road, they weren't horizontal. They were facing, her trailer faced where the bedroom window was facing the road. Okay, so when you walk up to the trailer, you had to walk around the end of the trailer and walk down the face of it till you get to the steps and then knock on the door. So I don't know if that's horizontal or perpendicular, but the front door was not facing the road. Let's put it like that. But before you can get there, it's a sea of lights, all right? So, which is all the responding units. They've set up a perimeter. And meanwhile, the men in black are responding from all over, right? And then again, it was all volunteer. And some of them lived way across the parish, 40 minutes away. And some of them lived within 5 minutes. And it just took a while to get everybody there. But you already had uniformed guys. Every uniformed deputy that was in the area, whether they were civil, serving papers, or they were on criminal patrol, or the Denham Springs City Police Department, everybody would have sent officers to get the situation contained. Contained meaning you don't want this lady running out the back door of the trailer and getting away with her firearm, because you don't know what's going to happen, right? So what they did is before I got there, they already had a perimeter set up, but it was with guys who aren't trained. I mean, they're trained a little bit. You've been in the shit, right? If you're in criminal patrol or uniform patrol, you know how to take cover and stuff like that. You never want to pull up close to the trailer. It's kind of like working a crime scene. You want to make it as big as you can without losing sight of your target. I mean, the target in this case is the trailer and any exit from the trailer. So because there was no road behind the other end of her trailer, they had some of the uniformed guys that kind of snuck around and were watching the backside of it, using cover and stuff like that. But guess what? They still got their jobs to do, right? I mean, SRT, the men in black, are who the cops call when they get scared, right? Or it's a situation, sugar certain shit is bad and they can't handle it specifically. And they still have other jobs to do. So what happens is we would meet, we knew the perimeter is established. And they had called out the hostage negotiator. Now, at the time, we had 2 hostage negotiators, and I'm not going to say their names. And that, like the special response team, was volunteer. You had to go to school for it. You had to be trained for it. I mean, certainly they didn't let somebody like me go be a hostage negotiator. I'd be like, you piss me off. I'd be like, go fuck yourself then, all right? And do what you say you're going to do. But we had 2. One of them was en route. All right. So, but now, this is before we had the direct response thing like you have nowadays when you have the school or the supermarket or workplace shootings where you respond and eliminate the threat. It wasn't like that back then. You still did perimeters. You still had hostage negotiators and shit like that. So I do know he was on the way. Real cool guy. But I arrived in where the SRT was staging, and what we staged is the team commander would have been on site, and they'd be like, okay, look, I need you to go relieve such and such uniform patrol guy. He's over here on this end of the trailer by the woods, right? Because, once I'm suited up now, you get there, I get out suited up, helmet, the whole 9 yards, everything, decked out, boom. And that's what they told me. Say, hey, I need you to go on the back, get around the back side, crawl in, be clandestine, do your thing, make sure you can see the back end of the trailer. And if you can, find a spot where you can see the back end and the front door. So you can see, basically they wanted me to get on the far end of the trailer by the woods where I can see as much as I could, where I could see if she exited the trailer, right? Back door, front door, windows, whatever. So I did, and I crawled in. I went around they had already evacuated the trailers that were around hers. And it didn't take long because everybody in there knew this lady was crazy. So they had evacuated the trailers. So I went in between the trailer next to hers, used cover, crawled around, got the uniform patrol guy that was in the very back. He was hiding behind a pine tree. And I told him, I said, hey, just take your time, go, walk down the fence line, go about 4 trailers down to the first trailer and then go out and we'll get somebody to get you to your unit. And so that's what I did. I would go in and I set up and I got down. It was an old metal shed, and I got down in a prone position with my rifle where I could see the maximum amount that I could see. And I called in, and we had our own way of communicating that nobody else could hear. And I called in, I said, hey, I'm at such and such point. I'm in, such and such has been relieved. This is where I'm at. Okay, cool. So they're writing it down where I'm at. Somebody's got to keep charge of that shit, y'all. You don't just go out there and go gangbusters. And as more SRT guys got there, they would place them in different, relieve other uniform guys until we had a secure perimeter. This takes a while, right? I'm talking like, I've been laying down now for 45 minutes or whatever, where the hostage negotiator shows up. And y'all, it's dark. The Eastover is not well lit up at all. I mean, I could see enough from one street light that was maybe 2 trailers down, but the outside of this lady's trailer was dark. You could see a little bit. I mean, it wasn't pitch black. I could see. And certainly I could see if somebody opened a door or a window or whatever, but it was still dark enough where it was to my advantage, I guess you would say. So SRT members are getting put in place around the trailer. Hostage negotiator shows up. Well, back then, as long as they weren't shooting or doing whatever, pretty much time was on your side, right? And so that's what we did. We set up, the hostage negotiator gets on the loudspeaker and he says, hey, this is so-and-so with the sheriff's office. I'm a negotiator. I just want to talk to you. You're not in any trouble with me. I'm just on the bullhorn, y'all. And now this perimeter that we have set up, you also have that set an outside perimeter outside of that with uniformed guys that are keeping looky-loos away, right? I mean, shit, this is entertainment. Everybody else that lives in Eastover, they're like, oh shit, it's going down tonight, right? Let's go watch. And so you have our perimeter, we have her contained. You have the outer perimeter, they're containing the looky-loos, if you will, the people who want, didn't have shit better to do than watch a standoff. And so in position and what he's talking back and forth, and look, this lady, now I need to tell you about her. First of all, she was not being silent. She was screaming and carrying on, and I'm not even 15 yards from the trailer. And she was going back and forth in the trailer, and you could hear the running back and forth between the trailer. And I saw the curtains move a couple times on the back end, the back window where I was watching. But she's screaming, fuck you, motherfuckers, get out of here. I'm going to fucking kill all you motherfuckers. And the negotiator was like, hey, you just need to calm down and talk to me. I'm here to help you. Fuck you, motherfucker, da-da-da-da. And so, but this lady, and I feel bad for y'all, and I had to arrest her before because she legitimately was crazy, but not insane. She would get high and do stupid shit. And I'll never forget one time I went over there and she had covered herself in flour and was running around the neighborhood threatening people, right? And had to tackle her that time in some Freeze Plus Pier. When she was not high, I'd been through there before and actually had a sane conversation with her, right? And I don't know if she was on meds or whatever, but we'd had her committed before. The 72-hour commitment, as long as you can do in the state of Louisiana, it's called a coroner's commit. And if you get to dealing with her, like if I was uniform patrol and I got sent to her house, I said, send me some backup and call the coroner, because 9 times out of 10, we were going to have her committed, right? And they would commit her for like 72 hours and get her back on whatever. I don't know. I think she was on meds, where they get her straight, whatever. And boom, she'd show back up in Eastover. So she knew us. And we also knew that she had a propensity for violence. I mean, she had, always acting out, always with a weapon, but she also was always sexual, okay? And she was probably in her mid-40s. I'm not being ugly. I mean, I'm describing her as a person. Mid-40s, probably 5'4". I mean, a little short thing, but heavy set, never took care of her personal hygiene. And that's one of the things we would do when we had to do the coroner's commit. And the coroner's commit, y'all, is when you go out and you respond with somebody and you know they're not the right mind, and not just high, but sometimes it's just throw it off. Or it's the combination. The coroner would come out and be like, okay, nobody can deal with her. She can't go to jail because she's just whack. So they would send her to the hospital or whatever I hate to say insane place is, but the Greenbrier, whatever the name of it was. They would send her there, the mental facility, that's what it was called. They would send her to the mental facility and lock her down for however long until they figured she wasn't a threat or harm to herself or anyone else, and they released her. Plus, she didn't have any insurance. I mean, she was on government assistance, and I mean, she couldn't hold a job and all that. But I'd talk to her at times when she was clear as a bell and nice and waving and shit. Every time I turned in Eastover, I'd cringe and I'd go by her place, because I mean, if she saw one of us and she was on a good level, she'd be wave and want you to stop and talk to her, and I would, if I wasn't rolling to something else. But the other times, damn it, you better strap it on, baby, because it was going to be on. You were going to have to arrest her or do whatever. And sometimes it was an arrest. Sometimes it wasn't a coroner's commit. But back to this night, she is raising 3 kinds of hell. Now we've been there for several hours. Okay, so when you're on perimeter on SRT, after you've been there a while, they'll send somebody to relieve you, and somebody will sneak up and relieve you, and you go out and you take like a 30-minute break. You get some water. I mean, look, this it's hot, and the mosquitoes are eating you up, and you're sweating your ass off, and so you get breaks, right? So I got the break, and I went back to the little rally point, and the hostage negotiator is in the vehicle talking to her on the bullhorn. Now, they had tried to establish communication with her through another thing. She wouldn't open the door and take it through a phone. She wouldn't take it. But so he had to keep doing it over the bullhorn. And he said, hey, Woody, watch this. And I went over to him, I was drinking a thing of water. Of course, I'm concealed. And he said, watch this. And he said, you want to see something funny? And I'm like, what? And he said her name and said, we'll call her Sheila. Sheila. Yeah, come on out, sweetie. Now, we're not gonna hurt you and da 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 da. Well, they had the door of the trailer and that end of the trailer and that back side of the trailer lit up with spotlights, right? So when Sheila comes to the windows, she can see out, but she'll be blinded. Where I was in the back, there was no way to get a spotlight back there. So that's the light I had to see by also. Sheila comes to what is her bedroom window, one of those half ovals on the thing, and she throws the curtain open, and she is butt naked and she has a vibrator, and she starts to use it on herself. She's in the window screaming, fuck you, and then all this unintelligible stuff as she's using a vibrator on herself. I'm like, God damn. And I almost said his name, and I was like, dude, I could have gone forever without seeing that. Thanks a lot, right? But I told you with her, a lot of times it was sexual stuff, and she loved to be naked. So anyway, that's where we were, and we were just at a fucking standoff, and she just wasn't either coming down or getting in the right frame of mind. I go back out on the perimeter. Meanwhile, we established a plan. We had a team that I was on, and stack up. That's what we call it. Stack up or line up at the back end of the trailer. And of course, the trailer was still being watched by other people, the access points. And then they had a team somewhere in close proximity to the front of the trailer in case Sugar turned to shit, in case she started shooting or whatever, and we had to make entry. But, the negotiator kept trying to talk to her, and shit, it just went on for hours and hours. And finally, the commander was like, fuck this. He said, cut the power. Let's force her hand. So they cut the power to her house. Now,
spark something uncommon this holiday with just the right gift from Uncommon Goods. The busy holiday season is here, and Uncommon Goods makes it less stressful with incredible hand-picked gifts for everyone on your list, all in one spot. Gifts to spark joy, wonder, delight, and that's exactly what I wanted feeling. Hey, y'all, I ordered a super cool piece. It's a candle with a sculpture of LSU's Tiger Stadium on top of it. And each officially licensed laser-cut wooden replica features up to 4 layers of detail, creating a bird's eye view of a specific football field, seating section, and more. And every label includes your stadium's name, the team's logo, and school location. And it has a coconut, soy, vegan wax infused with sandalwood smell that creates tailgates and touchdown scent profile, reminiscent of game day. It's invigorating like fresh cut grass and nostalgic like smoke from a pre-game grill, and calming like the crisp autumn air of a new semester on campus. Y'all, I love it. I have it at the base of my TV, and I'm ready to watch the Tigers play on Saturday night, right? Uncommon Goods. Look, when you shop at Uncommon Goods, you're supporting artists and small independent businesses. And many of their handcrafted products are made in small batches. So shop now before they sell out this holiday season. Uncommon Goods looks for products that are high quality, unique, and often handmade or made in the U.S. They have the most meaningful, out-of-the-ordinary gifts anywhere. They even have gifts you can personalize. From holiday hosts and hostess gifts to the coolest finds for kids, to hits for everyone from the book lovers to diehard sports fans. Uncommon Goods has something for everyone, not the same old selections you can just find anywhere. And with every purchase you make at Uncommon Goods, they give $1 to a nonprofit partner of your choice. They've donated more than $3 million to date. So to get 15% off your next gift, go to uncommongoods.com/RLRC. That's uncommongoods.com/RLRC for 15% off. Don't miss out on this limited time offer. Uncommon Goods, we're all out of the ordinary.
Now, it's hot, right? And I don't know if it was July or August. It was hotter than shit. And then when they cut the power, you're sitting in a tin box. She didn't have any, I don't think she had air conditioning to begin with, or maybe she had one, I don't remember. But we cut the power, she flipped out. She was really pissed. You cut my fucking power, turn my fucking power back on, da 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 da. I'm thinking, I can only imagine she's standing up there in the window doing her thing, right? But at least her vibrator was battery operated. But she was going off, and we're stacked up in the back, and we kind of still just waiting it out. But if she starts shooting, we know that we got to make entry, right? And we were in a safe place, and she's carrying on. But look, it wasn't 15, 20 minutes of no power, and then she was escalating. She was like, "You motherfuckers, I'm telling you, turn my power back on, turn my fucking power back on," and all this other crazy stuff she was saying. And then you hear, bam! And it was, fuck me. It was gunshot, right? And she was somewhere closer to our end of the trailer. And, if you ever hear a bullet go by, you'll never forget it, okay? And when you train, even in the Army, when I was in the Army and on SRT and stuff like that. They make you lie down and they fire different caliber weapons over your head so you can actually hear what the bullet sounds like when it goes by. So if you're in the field and somebody's shooting at you, you're like, holy shit, those are bullets. I know what that sounds like. Well, I heard the bullet, but it wasn't, I know it wasn't intentionally directed at us, but I know it was in our vicinity. Well, when that happened, motherfucker, now it's on, right? So immediately, this is funny, but it's not. Immediately, one guy in our stack, in our line, went up to the rear window of the trailer and takes his ass, which was a metal expandable baton, and starts breaking out the window. Boom, boom, boom. Another guy is designated to come up and throw a flashbang into that window, okay? Now, we're all in the stack behind the shield. Once they get back in the line, once they throw a flashbang, he threw us a bang out. Then to tuck your head down because it's a concussion grenade. It's going to blind you. It's made to blind and stun the senses of the bad guy, or in this case, the bad lady. So she cannot see, she can't hear. It'll literally knock the snot out your fucking nose. All right. So when they said bang out, we go to tuck. Well, guess what happened? They threw he threw the flashbang, and some bitch bounced off the window. It didn't hit a spot where the window was broken, and it came back and rolled over feet. Well, I had my eyes closed, my head tucked. I didn't know until it fucking went off. Boom! And just blew the force of it, the concussion of it, but blew my helmet partially sideways, knocked us all out of line and shit. And meanwhile, the front team comes up and they go and they hit the front door and they make the entry and they go in and they do their thing. We're all in the back, stunned to fucking death. Thank God my eyes were closed. I couldn't hear anything, and just took a knee and looking at the other guys and everybody's stunned, right? We were out of commission. There's no fucking way we were doing anything. But they made the entry, and she was in the back hallway closer to us, and sitting down on the floor naked, and the pistol was beside her, and she had shot it. She had shot it out the back corner. If we were on the back, stacked up, facing, we would have been going into the direction or where the window was when we came up, and when they were breaking the window through the bang, which bounced back out. But she shot out of that corner, right? So it wasn't feet away from us. And tell you what, if they had made entry on her, she'd have kept shooting, all right? But as soon as she did that, as soon as she fired that shot, my first thought was maybe she killed herself. But she fired the shot. Immediately, the front team took their actions, and I'm not going to tell you what everything. But everybody's seen flashbangs, right? They're on TV and the internet, and movies and stuff like that, stun grenades. And the front team did their distraction or whatever they were going to do to cover coming in, and then they go up and they hit the door. They take the door forcefully, go in, and she's down in the hallway. And one of the guys said he thought she was dead at first. The gun was down beside her, but she was just laying there naked in a fetal position, crying. And they cuffed her up, get her out, put a blanket around her, and then they have to do a sweep of the interior of the residence, make sure there's no dead bodies, nobody else is hiding, whatever. The residence was clear. Come out, call all clear, turn the lights on. We're in the back. We're getting our shit together, and we're like, oh shit, really wasn't a good situation for us. But you know what? That's how you learn. We had plenty of training, y'all. But the best plans in the world go awry. That's why you train over and over and over and over again, right? And there are no problems, just solutions. And thank God I had my eyes closed, and as did everybody else in the way we were trained. But it's still the force and concussion of the grenade were enough to take us out of the ball game. We were out, so it was up to the first team. They executed the arrest. Coroner was on scene by this time in a Acadian ambulance. Get her out and take her to the mental hospital, and she started back hollering and screaming and all that again. But she was in cuffs by that time, and they take her away. And that story just popped in my head the other day because I was watching something on TV, and somebody had popped off a flashbang. But, mental sickness and stuff like that, that we dealt with more people who had problems like that. I mean, you never knew which day you were going to catch them on, if it was going to be the good day or the bad day. And there's story after story about people like that I could tell. But thank God she didn't kill anybody. Thank God she didn't kill herself. And I don't know whatever happened to her. I guess I'll ask somebody one day when I see another deputy from over there if she's still alive and around, because we're talking like 16, 17 years ago was the last time I saw her. But we all walked away, so it was a good day. But the men in black and everybody that wears the uniform and the badge, not the shitheels that rape people or kill people or beat people unnecessary, but my hat's off to you fellas and ladies that go out there and put your lives on the line every day. Y'all know the story was outside the norm, but I just wanted to tell it, so that's it. Appreciate you listening, and we're going to be starting I'm going to be starting a really dramatic bad thing, and I'm going out in the field on it tomorrow, and Toby Tomplay is going to meet me, but you'll get it next week, and I'm sure it's probably going to be a multi-week thing, and I think that it'll be a case that lifers are going to be very passionate about, and you can get involved in, but I'll explain all that to you next week. So y'all be sure to subscribe to Real Life, Real Crime, wherever you listen to podcasts, anywhere in the world, whatever app you listen to or whatever. If you can hear Real Life, Real Crime, there's a subscribe button. Hit subscribe. That way, every time I drop an episode, you'll get notified. The Real Life, Real Crime community app in the App Store. It's free. Thousands and thousands of y'all have swapped over. I think it's pushing like it's well over 4,000 have swapped over in the last month. So I appreciate that, but it's so much more than we have in any of our other spots. Like I have Instagram, and I try to post in there a lot, which is at Real Life, Real Crime, okay, or at Overton Woody. Then I have like 5 different Facebook pages, like the crew page, which has over 36,300 members in it now. Great. I still, do post in the crew page, right? But I go to the Real Life, Real Crime community app first, because it's all those pages and Instagram and everything in one spot, and it's free. There's a reason I'm telling y'all. It has so much more stuff. Forums, case updates, just so much stuff that you can't imagine, but it's all in one place, and it helps me. And it's uncensored. That's another huge thing. We won't get censored by Facebook anymore. But if you get a chance, go download it. It's free. If you're a patron member, we love you. God bless you. Thank you for your financial support. In the Real Life, Real Crime community app, we could call them patron members convicts. It's the same thing. So a patron member, if you want to swap over at whatever level you're at now and you don't know how to do it, there's instructions everywhere. But if you don't know how to do it, then just email Cindy, CYNDI, at realliferealcrime.com, and she will hook you up. Hundreds and hundreds of Patreon members that have already swapped over. We'll always have Patreon. I get it. Some people don't like change. That's fine. If you want to stay Patreon, that's fine. But if you want to become a convict, that's awesome too, right? And it's easier to use than Patreon is. It's just easier on all the billing and all that. But thank y'all so much for your financial support. I really do appreciate it. And everybody else, I think it was 2 weeks ago, we dropped one of the Patreon/convict episodes that we have locked up in the vault. Now, when you subscribe to Real Life, Real Crime, you get all these different benefits, and the higher the level of subscription, the more benefits you get. But the very least you're going to get, you get unedited, commercial-free early releases, and then you get access to the vault, or now it's called the Canteen inside the Real Life Real Crime community at the Canteen. I think I have 13, 14, maybe 15 episodes that the public's never heard before, and they're my favorite, and they're my best. And so I lock them up for them, and I try to do at least one a month. Sometimes I get two in. But they have access to the case files and photographs and all these different things. So it's a lot, and I hadn't talked about it in a while, y'all, but it's a lot that we try to give you more than anybody else gives in their Patreon, and nobody else has convicts, but we try to give you more for your bang for your buck because we appreciate it and we love you. All right, so thank you so much. In this Barbara Blunt's case, you can call the hotline. Don't call it a cold case. I don't know when it's going to come out, but the hotline is still there. If you want to have it, call it in anonymously, please call it in. We're not going to stop. Can't tell you what's going on, but we're not going to stop. Just Courtney Coco will be in court on December 6th in Rapides, and that's it. LOPA, the Louisiana Organ Procurement Agency, we're going to be doing a huge raffle this year. We did it last year for the Crew Bash, for the guided fishing trip, and the 2 ice chests and all that. We have more people that are offering up items to be auctioned off or raffled off, and so we're going to do a special episode with Lopa and announce all that real soon, y'all, so we can sell it. Hey, in the Crew Bash, I'm not lying to you, I bet you there's not 15 VIP tickets left, and that's for the party on February the 4th, downtown Baton Rouge, and it's an all-night closed bar event for our VIP members and me. And we're going to hang out and we're going to party. We're staying at the Capitol Center Hilton. If you make your reservations, you're coming in from out of town. We got people coming in from all over the United States. Call the Capitol. If you choose to stay there, call the Capitol Hilton and use code RLRC at checkout. And it's like $30 or $40 a night off, y'all. And that's where we stayed for the past 2, and that's where I'm going to stay for this one. And we hang out. It's a good time. You're right there by 3rd Street. It's a block away from where we're going to be partying at on Friday night. And that VIP ticket gets you into that event on Friday night. Saturday night is going to be amazing, right? But Friday night, we get personal, and we get to hang out and drink and dance and all that good stuff all night. Saturday night, the Crew Bash is going to be at the Texas Club, world famous Texas Club. The regular general admission tickets get you in. You're going to hear a never before live crowd interactive adult beverage drinking podcast by me on stage. And when I get done, we're going to do the LOPA stuff, and then I'll spend the 3 or 4 hours, whatever it is, while Chase Tyler Band sings, the 2-time Louisiana Country Music Hall of Fame inductee. He's going to rock the stage. Him and the Chase Tyler Band are going to rock the stage. I'll be upstairs signing autographs, taking pictures until we're done. And that's it. So y'all better go to eventbrite.com and get your tickets while they're still there, because I can promise you there's not very many VIPs left, and we sold a lot of general admission, and that's, we're months away from it. So love to see y'all all there, but LOPA, something I believe in. I think November was like eye donation month or something like that. Y'all, I don't know all the technical stuff, but I know that if you sign up, if you're from Zimbabwe and you want to be an organ donor, go to lopa.org, sign up, give the gift of life, give the gift of sight. I think one person can save up to 5 lives. It's a valid thing, y'all. Saving lives, be a hero, sign up to be an organ donor. And I'm Woody Overton, your host of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast. And until next time or ever, don't let me catch you down on Murder Bayou. Peace.
Get ready, you're gonna do time. Real life, real crime.
Real Life, Life, Real Crime is a true crime podcast brought to you by Woody Overton and executive producer Toby Tomplay in conjunction with iHeartRadio and Cloud 10 Media.